We got a late night episode for y'all. Two stories to talk about. The first off regarding a future Hall of Famer's future in NASCAR and NASCAR expanding their footprint across the world. Now, first off, the driver that we're going to talk about whose future is kind of in question, Denny Hamlin. We know he's going to be a future Hall of Famer, three-time Daytona 500 champion. In my opinion, the best driver or one of the best drivers to never win a championship so far. Well, there are some news regarding his future. Denny Hamlin and FedEx's contract with Joe Gibbs Racing both expire at the end of the 2023 season. Now, we do know the fact that Denny Hamlin, he's one of the oldest drivers, above 40 years old. We do know that his time in the Cup Series is very limited. He has stated that he would like to win in his final start and doesn't want to be in the sport unless he is competitive. So knowing that he's only got a couple more years, maybe 3-4 years max left in NASCAR, the question is, would it be with Joe Gibbs Racing and FedEx? Now, some of you are probably thinking, well, duh, of course he's going to stay with FedEx and Joe Gibbs Racing. Why wouldn't he? They've been together since 2005. Well, I mean, we thought that with Kyle Busch and M&M's, right? We thought they were going to be together forever. Now, 2023 comes and Kyle Busch is racing for a new team. So yeah, there's a lot of things that are being questioned right now. We know that we saw that with Kyle Busch. I mean, when M&M's announced that they'd be leaving NASCAR at the end of the 2022 season, they announced it near the end of 2021. So they already had months on end to come up with a plan to keep Kyle Busch, and yet they couldn't. So why not couldn't the same happen to Denny Hamlin? This is if FedEx doesn't return. However, you do have to consider that as a possibility. We're hoping FedEx stays with NASCAR. All of us want all these longtime sponsors to continue supporting the sport. However, we do have to look at the possibility of, could there be life without FedEx and NASCAR? And if so, what would happen to Denny Hamlin and his relationship with the team? Denny Hamlin did state on the Dale Jr. download that he would like to retire with FedEx and Joe Gibbs Racing. However, if something happens and he has to change course, he would like to drive for his own team, co-owned by Michael Jordan and 23XI Racing. It is not uncommon. We've seen drivers in the past race for their own team. Alan Kulwicki did it, Tony Stewart did it, and numerous other drivers, but those two are the most common ones. Michael Waltrip also drove for his own team for a short period of time. So yeah, there's a lot of things floating in the air right now with Joe Gibbs Racing, considering the fact that you look at the drivers right now. Yes, we do know that Christopher Bell, Ty Gibbs are going to be here for the future. You look at the other two drivers, Denny Hamlin and Martin Truex Jr. They're both in their early to mid 40s. Truex, he said he was going to return for 2023, but what about past then? Is he going to come back for 24 or is he going to retire? With Denny Hamlin, now with the situation with FedEx up in the air, we don't know if they're going to extend past this season. A lot of questions about what the future is going to look like for Joe Gibbs Racing, which I never thought I'd say this, but I don't want to say they're in trouble, but look at what's been happening so far. You look at what's happened. We don't know what's happened with Denny past 2023. We don't know what's happened to Truex. We don't know what's happened to FedEx. And we still don't know what's happening with the Xfinity Series because at the moment, no one has been signed. Gibbs elevated to the Cup Series. Brandon Jones jumped over to Junior Motorsports. Who's going to take over the 18 and or the 54 car if they're even going to have an Xfinity Series program? We saw it with Roush Fenway Racing. They had a program and they shut it down. Team Penske is the same thing. After Austin Cindric elevated to the Cup Series, they shut down their Xfinity program. So while it may be a surprise, it wouldn't be uncommon to see a top team shut down their Xfinity program. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but maybe a possibility. And also so many changes with Toyota itself, with KBM leaving and them starting their new relationship with David Gillen Racing, now Tricon Garage, I think it's called. A lot of fluid things happening between Joe Gibbs Racing and Toyota that we're going to keep an eye on, especially with Denny Hamlin and what his future relationship is going to look like with Joe Gibbs Racing. If the decision comes that FedEx is going to be staying or leaving NASCAR. And finally, NASCAR is expanding its footprint around the world. Currently at the moment, there are 3 NASCAR International Series, I should say, alongside their touring series in America. We have the NASCAR Mexico Series, the NASCAR Pinty Series in Canada, and the NASCAR Wayland Euro Series in Europe. Well, add a 4th one to the list, the NASCAR Brazil Sprint Race. Yes, that's right. For the first time, NASCAR will have a South American in Brazil series in partnership with the GT Sprint Race. It was founded since 2012, and apparently it is a rising series from what I've been seeing on social media, so which is good to hear. Although I did think that if NASCAR were to come to Brazil, I thought they would partner with the Stock Car Pro Series, since I'm pretty sure that is the most popular Brazil motorsport in the country. But regardless, it is still cool to see NASCAR expand its footprint in the world, especially in a vibrant country like Brazil. I mean, I shouldn't have to tell you how much Brazil loves motorsports. Senna. All I need to say. I mean, we saw with the Brazilian Grand Prix how electrifying Brazil is for motorsports, specifically Lewis Hamilton, but still how much they love motorsports. So it would make sense for NASCAR's next stop to be in Brazil. And I mean, I'm just throwing it out there. The Cup Series at Interlagos, I mean, it does sound pretty cool. And if you're gonna have a series already in Brazil, it would be cool to have like a race weekend dedicated to NASCAR at Interlagos with the sprint race and maybe even the Cup Series as an exhibition race. I mean, again, NASCAR has said that it's not an if, but when, in terms of their international series. And what I mean by that is racing outside of America. And we all thought probably just Canada or Mexico, but now with this new development of them having a series now, or them now partnering with a series in Brazil, you can now also throw Brazil and maybe Interlagos into the conversation. Now, here's the thing with NASCAR and this partnership. Keep in mind, this is just a rebranding. NASCAR is simply, you just put your sticker and your logo on top of the series. They're not acquiring it and taking control of it like what they're doing with the NASCAR Pinty series or the European series. This is just like a rebranding. Now, what's interesting about this new development of NASCAR basically expanding its footprint, like I said, worldwide, is the possibility, the potential of NASCAR having a world championship. A following tweet by Adam Sturd said that NASCAR wants to eventually have a common chassis across all of its different international series so that it can create a global championship. I mean, it sounds like they basically want to have like an F1 type of world championship, but with stock cars, where you have stock cars race all over the world. Now, I don't know how that would work economically. Like, I don't know how that would work with the Pinty series, if they would have the money for that. Obviously, you're going to have a new chassis. It's going to cost a lot of money. So I don't know how the Mexico series, the Pinty series, or the European series, I don't know if that will economically work in their favor. I'm pretty sure NASCAR will go through this responsibly, but there's a lot of interesting things on the horizon for NASCAR. It's fun in a way, and it's exciting. Again, like I said earlier, we heard about, NASCAR, they want to go international for the Cup Series in 2024. You now have a Mexican driver like Daniel Suarez, a Cup Series winner. I know for sure that when we go back to Mexico, it is going to be huge for Daniel Suarez to come back home there when we have a Cup Series race there. And it's interesting. You have to understand where Daniel Suarez came from. He came from the NASCAR Mexico Series. That's where, he got, that's where he was discovered. That's how he started his rise to the NASCAR Cup Series, was in his own international series in Mexico. So this is another way of NASCAR to look out for future potential stars that race in Brazil, race in Canada, race in Europe. Find some superstars, bring them over to the Cup Series, and then if they succeed, NASCAR will then go out to those countries, and then eventually in return, NASCAR will have an even bigger audience outside of America. That's the plan I see. Starters, have a series, have a NASCAR series in a different part of the world. Hopefully, it can generate a superstar-like driver like Daniel Suarez. They come over to America, have success in America, and let's say if they're in Australia, now Australia has a new superstar. Guess what? You'll fly out to Australia because now you have a big crowd that's waiting for you, and specifically their driver. What are your thoughts on the situation? What are your thoughts on NASCAR coming to Brazil? And also, what are your thoughts on the future of Denny Hamlin? Do you think he's going to return past 2023? Do you think FedEx is going to come back? What do you think is going to happen? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Until next time, my name is Jet from MDK. Thanks for watching.